As we all know by now, by the time of the Dance of the Dragons, Vhagar was a veteran of countless battles, almost as massive as Balerion the Black Dread, and definitely the oldest and largest dragon still alive in Westeros. She was a dragon that was born before the Conquest, and her first rider was Queen Visenya Targaryen herself. When Visenya passed away in 44 AC, Vhagar was left without a rider for 29 years. Eventually, Prince Baelon Targaryen claimed her, riding her until his death in 101 AC. A couple of years later, Lady Laena Velaryon became her rider, and the two shared a bond until Laena's tragic death in 120 AC. Afterwards, Prince Aemond Targaryen took up the reins, riding Vhagar until their infamous and catastrophic last flight over the God's Eye during the Dance of the Dragons. But enough for her introduction. Let's take a look at all the battles that Vhagar had been a part of. Let's get to it. Number 1. Stokeworth. The very first instance where we see Vhagar used in war was during the burning of House Stokeworth. Nothing much is known about this except that it was an important house in the would-be Kingsland. This was during Aegon's conquest, and the Stokeworths immediately surrendered their castle after Visenya Targaryen burned their roofs with Vhagar's flames. Number 2. The battle in the waters of Gtown. This is an important battle during the conquest, which showed that even though a dragon was present, things could still go sour. This battle was started with the Iron Fleet of the Vale ambushing the Targaryen fleet off the coast of Gtown. They sank 1/3 of the Targaryen ships and captured the rest. They would have won if it wasn't for Visenya and Vhagar diving down and burning the rest of their ships. So although the Targaryens had the last laugh, the battle was declared a tactical draw due to the loss of both fleets. Number 3. The Field of Fire. So the Field of Fire was one of the most pivotal battles of Aegon's conquest. Aegon Targaryen and his sisters, Visenya and Rhaenys, faced a massive combined force of 55,000 men from the Lannisters of the Westerlands and the Gardeners of the Reach. Despite being heavily outnumbered, the Targaryens had their dragons, Balerion, Meraxes and Vhagar together. When the two armies clashed, the dragons took to the sky, setting the battlefield ablaze. This firestorm killed 4,000 soldiers, with another 1,000 dying from the battle, and 10,000 others suffering severe burns. This engagement saw the death of King Mern Gardener and his entire family, thus wiping out House Gardener of the Reach entirely. King Lauren Lannister, who managed to escape, later bent the knee. The battle cemented the Targaryens' dominance and became infamous as the only time all three dragons fought together in Aegon's conquest. Number 4. The Dragons Wroth. The Dragons Wroth was a revenge carpet burning of dawn after Queen Rhaenys and her dragon Meraxes were killed in 9 AC by a scorpion bolt in that kingdom. Consumed by grief and rage, Aegon and Visenya unleashed fire and fury on Dawn, burning every stronghold except Sunspear. The destruction was devastating, but the Dornish held firm, using guerrilla tactics and assassins to resist the Targaryens. The conflict also led to the creation of the Kingsguard after a failed attack on Aegon and Visenya in King's Landing. Despite the widespread devastation by both Balerion and Vhagar, the Dornish endured, proving that they wouldn't be conquered by fire alone, but only brought into the fold years later by marriage. Number 5. The next engagement that saw Vhagar burning stuff was during the 5th Militant Uprising. The 5th Militant Uprising technically kicked off during the reign of King Aenys I, but the trouble had been brewing since his father, King Aegon I. This civil war saw a bunch of houses either siding with or helping the faith of the Seven. Even after taking heavy losses at the battles like Stonebridge and the Great Fork of the Blackwater, the Faith Militant refused to back down against King Maegor. Visenya Targaryen, deciding to handle things the hard way, she climbed aboard Vhagar and unleashed fiery wrath on the Riverlands, burning the castles of House Blaintree, House Derrick, House Deddings, House Leicester, and House Wayne, all in one night. That was the last time Visenya saw active combat before her death in 44 AC. Number 6. The Fourth Daish War. Also known as Morion's Madness, the Fourth Daish War was instigated by Prince Morion of House Martell, and he intended on invading the Seven Kingdoms. In 83 AC, Morion launched his invasion, sailing his fleet north across the Sea of Dawn. His target was Cape Wrath, where he intended to land his spearmen, but waiting for him was King Jaehaerys along with his sons Prince Aemon and Prince Baelon, with their dragons Vermithor, Caraxes and Vhagar. As the Dawnish fleet approached, the Targaryens struck from above. The dragons descended, raining fire upon the ships. Despite the Dawnish sailors' desperate attempts to fight back with scorpions and crossbows, their projectiles could not penetrate the dragons' thick scales. The sky burned with dragon flames, and within hours the fleet was obliterated. Ships were reduced to charred wreckage, and thousands of Dawnish spearmen perished in the flames or drowned in the seas. Number 7. The battle over Storm's End. So this encounter set the tone for the brutality of the Dance of the Dragons. Prince Aemond Targaryen on top of Vhagar fought against Prince Lucerys Velaryon on top of Arrax. Prince Lucerys had come as an envoy to win the Baratheon support, but Aemond Targaryen was already there and demanded blood for Lucerys' perceived insults way back in their childhood, and then pursued him to the skies on Vhagar. Lucerys fled on Arrax, but the young dragon, smaller and inexperienced, was caught in a violent storm. The massive ancient Vhagar quickly outmatched Arrax, and then Vhagar tore Arrax apart mid-flight, and Lucerys fell to his death in the storm-tossed waters below. This was a horrifying escalation in the war, cementing the personal vendettas which would drive both factions forward. Number 8. The Battle at Rooks Rest. This pivotal battle during the Dance of the Dragons showed the devastating consequences of dragon versus dragon warfare. Rhaenys Targaryen, known as the Queen Who Never Was, rode Meleys the Red Queen into battle against King Aegon II on Sunfire and Prince Aemon on Vhagar. The Greens lured her into a trap, and she faced 2 dragons alone instead of 1. Meleys was fierce, inflicting grievous wounds on Sunfire, but the odds were overwhelming. Vhagar, being larger and more experienced, dove onto the other 2 mid-air and crashed into the battlefield. Both Meleys and Rhaenys died that day, and Aegon II was gravely injured during the battle, though he would survive with a deformed body. The defeat dealt a heavy blow to the Blacks and showcased the terrifying destructiveness of Vhagar in combat. Number 9. The Second Burning of the Riverlands. After the fall of King's Landing to Queen Rhaenyra, tensions flared between Prince Aemond Targaryen and Criston Cole, the Hand of the King. Frustrated and driven by a thirst for revenge, Aemond decided to act independently, and he mounted Vhagar and embarked on a personal campaign of terror, launching a one-man war that wreaked havoc across the Riverlands. Aemond and Vhagar unleashed unparalleled destruction, starting with the complete annihilation of Harrenhal's remaining wooden structures. Then entire villages were razed, and flames consumed the lands loyal to Rhaenyra. The devastation caused by Vhagar was akin to that of an entire army setting a scorched earth campaign, and the fearsome dragon severely weakened Rhaenyra's Riverland supporters. And number 10. The Battle Above the God's Eye. This climactic and legendary duel was one of the most dramatic moments of the dance. Prince Daemon Targaryen on Caraxes, the Blood Worm, confronted Prince Aemond Targaryen on Vhagar over the God's Eye Lake. Both dragons, veterans of many battles, fought ferociously in the skies. Caraxes, smaller but faster and more agile, put up a fierce fight and then somehow got the upper hand against the much larger Vhagar. In the chaos of battle, Daemon executed an audacious move. Leaping from Caraxes onto Vhagar in midair, he drove his sword, Dark Sister, into Aemond's remaining eye and killing him instantly. The dragons locked in a deadly spiral, plummeted into the lake below. Caraxes, mortally wounded, managed to crawl ashore before succumbing to his injuries, but Vhagar and Aemond died and disappeared beneath the water, never to be seen again. Thus Vhagar, the last dragon from before the Conquest, died during the Dance of the Dragons, and she was over 180 years of age. So she had quite a lot of fights and had experience that no other dragons would have, except for Balerion, and even that is doubtful. Anyway, those are all the 10 battles of Vhagar in Westeros. And so with that, we come to the end of the video. Do hit that like button for support, and also subscribe if you haven't. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, fam.